Meantime, it's been almost 3 months since the attack at McKinley High School, where a student was stabbed and a security guard shot. In the weeks that followed, we filed Freedom of Information requests that looked into other violent incidents at the school over the last few years after staff members reached out to us about that. Well, that digging turned up 13 police reports since the fall of 2019. But that violence in Buffalo Public Schools isn't limited to just McKinley. Our nonprofit partners at Investigative Post looked at the rest of the district with a review of 911 calls showing that those issues are getting worse. Lane Dowdle shows us what they found.
Natalie Brooks is the mother of 2 daughters who attend Buffalo Public Schools. She fears for their safety.
The violence is carrying from the streets going into the schools, and then they see that it's elevated and escalated to the point where now it's a lot more gang activity.
The issue of school violence has been front and center since the shooting of a school security guard and stabbing of a student at McKinley High School in early February. But it's been a worsening problem across the district for some time. Brooks' one daughter, Nevaeh, is a freshman at Math, Science, and Technology High School on East Delavan Avenue.
I don't feel safe in my school because I'm kind of going through a situation where I have to watch my back every day.
Incidents like the shooting and stabbing at McKinley High School garner a lot of attention, but it was hardly an isolated event.
The same day as the McKinley shooting, we had like a riot at our school with like 50 kids. Kids all hitting another student.
Violence is common in and around some Buffalo schools. Fights between students are most frequent. An estimated 45 teachers have been injured this school year, often breaking up those fights. There was even an incident earlier this school year in which a parent attacked a security guard.
We have a serious problem with violence in the schools. You're seeing it everywhere.
Investigative Post used the Freedom of Information Act to obtain data on 911 calls involving city schools. Our analysis found calls are up nearly 20% this school year, compared with 2018-19, the last academic year before the pandemic struck. Even more troubling, high-priority 911 calls, such as fights or reports of a weapon, have increased by almost half. Most of the violence occurs in the high schools. The schools generating the most high-priority 911 calls include McKinley, Bennett, Riverside, Grover Cleveland, and the 2 Emerson schools located downtown. Teachers and principals have been sounding an alarm for several years now. District leaders did little to nothing in response until the McKinley incident. Robert Boreanaz, an attorney for the union that represents principals and other administrators, told Investigative Post district leaders have ignored requests for help until recently.
Our members are the leaders of every single building in the district. And they have been expressing these concerns for well over 2 years about the needs for improvement in security.
Among the requests that were ignored or delayed, more security guards, replacement of broken and outdated security cameras, and partnerships with anti-violence organizations. School Board President Lou Petrucci acknowledged frustration over the district's response time.
It oftentimes feels as if we're not responding when we're acting as quickly as we can, and sometimes that just seems to be glacially slow.
The result? Relatively few students are disrupting learning for a large number of their peers.
Is the environment safe and conducive to learning? Definitely not.
Tanja Williams, the interim superintendent, insists schools are safe.
I feel our schools are very safe. I really do. I've been very clear about what my expectations are regarding safety, and we will do everything every day that we can to make sure that all of our children are safe.
In recent weeks, the Board of Education has approved a plan to address security. Key elements include actions that teachers and administrators have been advocating for several years. They include hiring more security guards and bus aides, replacing outdated and inoperative cameras, and community partnerships. Parents, like Brooks, are watching for change.
Being able to increase the security, like you said, I'm glad that they're making an initiative to do that. We know that it's a lot of problems, but follow through and stay on top of it.
For Channel 2 News, I'm Lane Dowdle with Investigative Post.
All right, Lane, thank you. And you can see the breakdown of high priority calls to Buffalo schools as well as suspensions by grade level. All of that posted right now at investigativepost.org.